All right. Well, I'm going to wait for somebody to show up here to make sure my microphone's working. Well, it looks like we have about 4 people here. So give me a thumbs up in the comments if you guys can hear me. I know my microphone's been kind of acting wonky on me here. So I want to talk about the Daybell case a little bit tonight. So, hi guys. Hi Jodi. Hi Arias girl. Hi Betty Damn Boop. Betty Damn Boop. That's a great name. Hi Tracy. Hi Maria San Diego. Cody Frank. Teresa Mountain High. Hi everybody. I really wasn't going to go live tonight, but I started reading a little bit about the Daybell case, and I just wanted to have a brief discussion about that and kind of offer my 2 cents. Since I did a little investigating on that case and have some insights, I feel like, especially when we start talking about Alex Cox and Zulema Pastina, who is also here in Arizona. But before I do that, let's see who we got here. Never Lose Hope. Hi. Nadia Zaroon. Hi. Janet Salazar. And I believe Janet is either in New Mexico or Colorado. That is a Colorado name, isn't it, Janet? So, hi, Coda Frank. Jean. You guys that are just joining us, I was not going to go live tonight, but we had so much fun doing it the other night that I thought, what the heck? Let's give it another shot. My 3 rosebuds. Hi, Tyson from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to put you on there. You are the best, my 3 rosebuds. Thank you so much. I'm glad you guys think so. It's nice to get on here and feel some love from some people every once in a while. So, how many of you guys are following the Daybell case? Anybody watching that? It's kind of hard to stomach some of that stuff that's going on, some of those details, huh? Especially about JJ and Tylee and some of the awful things that happened to them. Miss your videos, Georgia Mom. Love from Savannah, Georgia. I'm going to put you up there, Georgia Mom. Hi, let's see. I want to say hi to everybody because I really, truly do appreciate you guys jumping on here and showing me some love tonight. Feels good. Diane Meadows, Fuzzy Doxy, Crystal Forest, Heartbreaking. Absolutely. Maria San Diego. Hey, Tyson. Have you looked into all of the info that AK has about where he thinks Suzanne is? I wish you two would get together and find her. Honestly, no, I have not. I have not seen anything from AK. I haven't looked at his stuff in years. So maybe I should go take a look at that and see what he's got. But I think he's always said he's like right on the verge of finding Suzanne all the time. So if he knows where she's at, then he should just go out there and make it happen. Alicia, Kat, Mish. Can you guys, is my microphone, is it like pretty much crystal clear? Or is it still kind of like crackling because that was kind of a Roxy Fiber. There's Jody Malone from Queen Creek, Arizona. So you're probably watching the Daybell case, huh? Pretty interesting. So Queen Creek is not far from Santan Valley. And when I first started investigating this case, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but I think I just saw, I think it was today that they played the video, the phone call of Lori Vallow and her sister Shiflett. I can't think of her first name. Shiflett's her last name. But her husband, Shiflett's husband's name is Jeff, and he's from my hometown here in the Gila Valley. The Shifletts, they own the Dairy Queen here in Safford, Arizona. And Jeff is the one of the sons of the older couple that used to own the Dairy Queen here. And he runs a chiropractic business there in either Gilbert or Santan Valley. And I stopped in there one day, tried to surprise him and talk to him about this case a couple years ago, but he wouldn't come out. He was back there in the back. So that day I also went kind of, out to Santan, kind of looking around, just kind of seeing if I could find their house. I wanted to talk to some of the people about the case. And you got to remember, when I was doing that, that's before we knew where JJ and Tylee were. They were still missing. And so I was kind of on a mission to try to help find them. So very gruesome. Okay. So yeah, that's one. Pam Shiflett. There we go. Pam Shiflett, I think, is her name. So we need Tyson's interview. Show. Oh, is she in show? So anyway, one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight with the Daybell case is, just because I am from Arizona and I also was raised LDS or Mormon. And so I can offer a few insights to maybe, their frame of mind. I know up there in Idaho where Chad Daybell's from, they have a lot of the preppers, like the doomsday, end of the world type stuff going on. And a lot of that stuff stems from the LDS doctrine, of it being the last days. And in fact, that's the name of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so a lot of people are taking that to heart and starting to become preppers. Chad Daybell was an author for Deseret Book and Bonneville and some of the other bookstores where he wrote these, I think they were mostly nonfiction books about, end of the days, end of times, doomsday type stuff. And he just got a little carried away with it. He got a little carried away, and it's really shocking because, Chad Daybell seemed like such a nice guy. I don't know if this video is still on my page or not, but I had a video at one time. I might have taken it down for some reason. I don't know why, but it's when I went to Tammy Daybell's grave, and I talked to a guy that was working in the cemetery. He was driving a backhoe, a tractor, and I kind of walked up on him. He was sitting up on the backhoe, and I said, "Hey, did you know Chad Daybell when he worked here in this cemetery?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." He said, "We were great friends. Chad worked here for years." And I said, "What kind of a guy was he?" And he says, "Top notch, just a great, great guy." And he said, "I can't believe that he would do something like this." He says, "I'm just in shock like everybody else." He said, "I've known him for years, and I just could never have imagined that he would do something like this, so bizarre." So I don't know if that video is still up, but it was a pretty unique interaction that I had with somebody that knew Chad for a long time. Chad, he worked at that cemetery as a grave digger from the time he was a young man. Then he went on a mission for 2 years and then came back and then started working at the cemetery again. So he worked there for a long time, and this guy also worked there for a long time. And so they were pretty good friends. So it's really, truly, guys, it is the most bizarre case that I have ever studied, that I've ever been a part of. Not that I'm a part of it, but that I've ever, researched or did YouTube videos about or whatever. It was so bizarre. I remember when it first happened, it really caught my attention because, of me growing up LDS. It was wild that Chad was putting out books at the bookstore, because that's not easy to do. I mean, that is really saying something when you're able to make it to the Deseret bookstore with your books, because there's a lot of people that try and do not succeed. So the fact that he actually had his book on the shelves, or his books, was really saying something. He was well respected in the church. I don't know, as far as his callings go, I don't know if he was like in the bishopric or the elders quorum presidency or what. It doesn't really matter. But, just the fact that he had books out in the bookstore is saying a lot for, what kind of a person he was, what kind of a writer he was, because that's not easy to do, like I said. So let's go ahead and what I want to do, guys, if anybody wants to join me on this live and come on here and talk about this case, and nobody, you don't have to, but if somebody wants to, send me an email. You know what? I don't know if I can do that. I might have to wait till next time, because I think I have to update my subscription here before I can bring anything on there. Or bring anybody on here. Was telling me earlier that I have to update my subscription, and I haven't done it yet. So I guess we can just chat here. Right, I'm going to go right here to Australia. It caught my attention here in Australia too. It was during COVID and lockdown, so I had extra time to watch YouTube, and I have never followed a crime as it unfolded before. So crazy. Yeah, COVID, during that time, I was traveling around a lot. I was on the road. I had this cool little Tiger van that was kind of like a little motorhome that I bought, and it was very rare. And instead of sitting at home, like, I just started traveling around, and, I got pulled over by the police a couple times. And they're like, "Hey, what are you doing out here on the road? You're supposed to be in lockdown." And, I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of like just traveling around in my van." They're like, "All right, go ahead." And it was weird because it was like there was nobody on the road. It was just like dead all the way from like Las Vegas, all the way through Utah, St. George, that area. There was like nobody out on the road, and everybody was at home, I guess, watching YouTube videos. But this case really intrigued me, and I was in Arizona studying it, and I had this really strong feeling come over me that I needed to, like, I don't know, get involved with it somehow. And so that's when I was like trying to get up to Chad Daybell's house, because I was trying to help find JJ and Tylee, find out what was going on with them mostly. But you guys know that how that went, because I talked about it last time. So okay, Naomi Morgan, I'm going to put your comment up here next. So good to see you. Thank you. Let's see. I found his writing to be like an 8th grade boy's. Okay, so you know what? Maybe it was. I don't know. I never read his books, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was. Maybe it's a lot easier than I thought to get on the bookshelves or the bookstore shelves in Deseret Book. Yeah, Fuzzy Doxy, absolutely. It was the worst time ever during lockdowns. Yeah, it was. Haley Hall. I'm going to put this up here, and we can talk about different cases. I don't care. We can talk about any case that you guys want. AK has a smart group parsing information from court exhibits. This is a strong timeline of events, telematics, etc. Interesting stuff. The issue now is prosecutorial negligence in Chaffee County. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's very, very unfortunate. But man, I don't know AK, guys. I know you guys thought that we were like friends, but I don't know him at all. But I do respect him in the sense that he's put a lot of time and effort into finding Suzanne. So, I'll respect anybody that does that. Gonzo, I don't know if Gonzo's still around too. He was putting in a lot of work as well. Let's see who this is right here. Jody Malone. It appears that Chad's skills were evident in JJ's burial. Steps were taken that only someone with experience would know. Yeah. I'm sure Chad's grave digging skills came in handy for that awful experience. But I felt like Alex Cox was the one that was behind that, that he was more involved in all of that. He was kind of like their enforcer. So, you guys all know that I went to go try to find Zulema. That's Alex Cox's wife here in Arizona. And I ran into her daughter, who came out into the street and was cussing me out, telling me to leave, that Zulema didn't want to talk to me or anybody else, and they called the cops on me. And so I waited around for the cops to show up. I was well within my rights of just standing out in the street, wasn't doing anything wrong. And pretty soon the cops come and they're like telling me, yeah, man, this was wild when we were here before when Alex died, like this whole case is bizarre. Like Alex is a nut, basically what the cops were telling me. And then I ordered the body cam footage, and Zulema is on there saying, yeah, Tyson, he's harassing me and he's calling me a murderer and all this. She was totally blowing everything out of proportion. So yeah, I agree with you right here, Keg. Gonzo was great, Tyson. Yeah, man. I don't have any man, if anybody's out sacrificing their time and their money and their efforts and their energy to go out and look for Suzanne Morphy or anybody else, I have respect for them, because it's not easy. It's really not easy, especially when you're from a different state and you've got to make that long drive. And I don't know where Gonzo's from, but it seems like he was from out of state, and then he was always winding up back over there in Colorado. So, good for him, man. Good for him. I have a lot of respect for people like that. Only see Gonzo on occasion in some chats on true crime, so I guess he's still around. Yeah, right here, Raffin Roller, or whatever that is. Tammy Daybell's sister on the witness stand today. Samantha Gwilliam. Lori's sister is Summer Shiflett. There you go. Justice for JJ, Tylee, Tammy, and Charles. Yeah, there was another guy in there. His name was Ryan. His last name was Ryan. What the heck was his first name? Can you guys help me with that? Seems like it was started with a J, and that was one of Lori's husbands, and he died too. It was right on the tip of my tongue. Something Ryan, and he moved out to Arizona, and he died as well. So, man, talk about a black widow, man. Lori is, she is something else. She is something else. Never lose hope. I'm going to put your comment up here. Tyson, when you were talking to Chad's son in the yard, there's children buried back there. Yeah, that's true. Well, actually what happened is when I got there, they were just starting to dig up the bodies like that morning. I got there, I was there like bright and early as the sun was coming up. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Chad Daybell's yard actually sits on like the main road. There's a main road that goes through Salem, Idaho, and there's a little stoplight there. And his house is just right off this road. Well, just off to the other side is another road. It's kind of like a side road, and that's where all the news organizations were parking, and that's where the fence was, where they put up the little memorial for JJ and Tylee. And that's where, just beyond the fence is where they found their bodies, where they had this pet cemetery. And I was the first one there. I beat all the news organizations there. And they had this little like blue tent set up, or this little covering. They were starting to dig up the bodies, and they were back there all day. And, it felt kind of weird because we were all just kind of like watching this. We were just watching them dig up these bodies. And I felt really like sick to my stomach. I felt really sick to my stomach that this was actually really truly happening. It just seemed so surreal. And so I didn't want it to be real. It was just really, really disturbing. And so once I talked to Chad's son, I think they had already brought the bodies out of the ground, and they were taking them off to the morgue, or I don't know, to wherever they take them. And so then what happened is, this was about lunchtime that I was talking to Chad Daybell's son. And so they had moved, since Chad had just gotten arrested the day before, they were moving all of his stuff out of the house. Like, there was people from their ward coming over, like the Elders Quorum and people from the Relief Society. And they were moving all of his stuff out. And Emma, who lived across the street with her husband, that's Chad's daughter. And I know, Emma got a bad rap because she was making faces to the camera and all that and acting like a little brat. But really, she was just thinking that her dad was innocent. She was just thinking that there's no way her dad could ever have done something so awful. And so I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt on that. But anyway, they were moving furniture all day from Emma's house over into Chad's, and moving all of Chad's stuff out. And so I was watching, like I was saying the other night, I was watching Emma kind of walk back and forth and watching other people. And it was bizarre, man. It was bizarre. I felt bad for these people. I felt really bad for them because, they didn't deserve to be put in that situation. And I know now, every time anybody hears that name, Daybell, from now on, they could go apply for a job or go anywhere and say their name is Garth Daybell or whatever, and people are going to be like, oh, the Daybell, So, their name is forever tainted, and it's just so sad what those kids have to endure. And so I was talking to Chad's son, Garth, and he didn't want to talk to me. He was very reluctant. And I understood that. I didn't want to impose on his privacy. I didn't want to be pushy, but at the same time, I really wanted to just let him know that there were people out here that actually felt sorry for him and his family, and was actually praying for them, even because I'm sure in that moment they probably felt like the whole world hated them, and they probably felt totally ostracized and embarrassed, and not just embarrassed. That's not even a strong enough word. Totally mortified, humiliated. And so I just wanted to give him a shout out, not a shout out, but a word of encouragement. And so he was blowing me off. He kept picking up these boxes because they were moving all the stuff. And so I finally said, hey, I went to your mom's grave in Utah. And he goes, what? He goes, yeah. I said, I went and visited your mom's grave. I did a YouTube video on it. And he goes, oh, I saw that video. And then I was like, you saw that video? He's like, yeah. And so then I kind of broke the ice, and he started walking out towards the street. And that's when he said what he said. He just kind of, there was another guy there that was from the news organization, and he didn't like me. He kept trying to crowd me out. They don't like YouTubers. And so he was trying to crowd me out. And so when I started talking to Garth, he was starting to butt in and starting to like run the conversation. So I just kind of like let him talk to him for a while. But, I pretty much said what I needed to say. And I told Emma, the same thing, that, that it's just a tragedy. And she said, I said, how well did you know Lori? And she goes, I didn't know her that well. She says, I met her a couple of times. She was kind of hanging around the house, coming in and out with Alex Cox. And she said that they had moved to the Rexburg area, which is just down the road from Salem. And they were all renting a condo, and that they brought not only Alex, but they brought Melanie Pulowski also, and they were all kind of just hanging around. And it was bizarre. It was so freaking bizarre how all this went down. Like, I'm just picturing in my head, Tammy, she went to enrichment that night, which is a meeting for women at the church, and they do like lessons and games, and they also do like food storage and stuff. Well, I guess she had like some food, some frozen food or some stuff that they canned or something there at the church. And she was walking into the house, and some guy came around the corner with a gun and was trying to shoot her with it. And she was obviously startled, but she thought it was a prank. She thought it was a joke. And so she went in the house, and she got on Facebook, and she said, hey, something weird just happened here at the house. She said, some guy came around the corner of my house with a paintball gun and was trying to shoot me with it, but it got jammed. And she thought it was a paintball gun. And really what was happening was Alex Cox was trying to murder her right there in her driveway. I mean, these people are sick, man. So she escaped that, obviously. And so I guess they went to plan B. And I always thought that Tammy was poisoned. They were talking about, different ways that she was poisoned. But I think they came out and said that she was strangled, or that, she died of asphyxiation somehow. So I don't know. Doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, the fact is they killed her. They murdered her. And so now those Daybells are without a mom and without a dad. And, it's just crazy the damage that Lori did to so many people. I was trying to get a hold of Kobe Ryan. That Ryan guy that I can't think of his first name, that's Kobe's dad. And so that's one of Lori's husbands. And I was getting a hold of Kobe. I was so close. I had Kobe's mother-in-law on the phone, the gal that he's married to. I don't know if they're still married now, but they were newlyweds. And I was talking to the mom, the mother-in-law, and she says, well, Kobe, he saw your videos that you did for JJ and Tylee. Like, he knows who you are, but he's just not really comfortable coming in onto YouTube and talking about it right now. So it was bizarre. It was just really bizarre. I felt really bad for Kobe too, and I know that he's struggling now. There were some charges brought against him a few months ago. It was rape. And I was like, what the heck is this? What's going on with Kobe Ryan? And then it turned out that it was his wife, like, saying that he raped her. I guess they were separated and they were trying to like work it out or something. And he was sleeping on the couch, but he was like pushing her like into sexual, situations that she wasn't really comfortable with. I mean, that's kind of what I heard. And I don't know that that's 100% factual, but that was kind of the gist of it that I got. And so Lori is a prize, isn't she? She's a prize. I mean, I say that sarcastically, of course. I mean, she devastated a lot of people's lives. Today I was trying to locate Larry and Kay Woodcock because I want to invite them to come on this show. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. I was trying to reach out to them in Lake Charles, Louisiana last year. I thought I had their number, but I never could get a return phone call. And then they had like some other gal, like one of their relatives. Her name was like Kesha, I think, and she was doing some YouTube videos. So I was going to try to go through her to get a hold of them because I really want them to come on my show, and I have some questions that I want to ask them, and I want to talk to them about JJ and Tylee. So if anybody has a phone number or has any way that I can get a hold of them, or you guys can pass that information along, I would really, really appreciate that. And my number hasn't changed. I have not changed my number, even though a lot of people have tried to get me to. So if they want to just text me, or they can email me at, I'm going to put it on the screen here. Let me see if that'll go through there. Oh, I guess I'm like way up here. Okay, I got to, okay, right there. So T_Draper100 @hotmail.com. And that goes for any of you guys. If you want to contact me for any reason, that's my email. I would rather you guys contact me through that instead of my phone, because I'm really screening my calls these days and I may not pick up. So, all right. I'm going to go right here. Currently, the Woodcocks are too overwhelmed. I don't have their contact info, but I can possibly get it. Yeah, I know they are overwhelmed. I know they probably got a lot of people that are reaching out to them. And more than that, it's just the emotional side of the trial. They're really instrumental in getting this case rolling, the Woodcocks. And they were great grandparents to JJ. And they really love Tylee too, And it was heartbreaking to hear Summer Cox today talking about how Lori could have just brought the kids over to her house and she would have, taken care of them or whatever. But what a tragedy. I mean, there's not even words. It's an unspeakable tragedy. All right, I'm going to go over here. So if you guys want to talk and you want me to get your comment up here on the screen, let me know. Put it up here, and I'll try to get it on here. Okay, Carmelo Belmonte. Hope all is well, Tyson. Good to see you back in the saddle again. Thank you, Carmelo. I'm gonna give you a good shout out here, Carmelo, because I don't have a lot of men that like my channel or follow my channel. And that's just kind of the way it's always been. I've always dealt with a lot of jealousy, and I've always dealt with a lot of people who, I don't know, they would rather, men would just rather tear men down than see them succeed. So this comment really means a lot to me, Carmelo. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you for your support. Nicole P. Yeah, that goes without saying. Lori is a monster. I mean, there is just no words. How in the world can you do that to your children, first of all, but then hop on an airplane and go to Hawaii and take these pictures and get married and not only that, but when Nate Eaton with the East Idaho News, he tracked her down in Hawaii, she was just like totally flaunting it. Just like she didn't have a care in the world. Like, well, good luck, you guys. I hope, because I think Nate was saying something like, well, the FBI and everybody's looking for JJ and Tylee, and we don't know where they're at. We don't know what's going on. She's like, well, good luck. I wish them luck. Like just no conscience whatsoever. No signs of remorse. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, yeah, to say she's a monster is putting it lightly. Yeah, okay, so this is true right here, Fifi48. It's hard to follow and contain Leisha Stauch's trial and Lori Daybell's trial at the same time. So, this would have been very interesting had Barry not gotten off, because I think these three trials would have been going on at the same time. Suzanne Morphew, or I should say Barry Morphew, Letitia Stauch, and Lori Daybell, or Lori Vallow. whatever she is, whatever she's called. So we just gotta stay on it and try to get justice for Suzanne. She's next. Okay, okay, here we go. Emma D. I'm going to put your comment up here. I've had the pleasure of messaging Miss K. They are salt of the earth. Emma D. Awesome. That's great. Well, if they don't ever reach out to me, just give them my condolences. I have the utmost respect for them. They just seem like such wonderful people. And, but I hope I can get them on here. So that's cool that you had a chance to talk to him, Emma. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, Mel Stiller. The Woodcocks are JJ's paternal grandparents. So this is my understanding. I'm sure you guys know this, but JJ was born with some sort of a medical condition like autism or something along those lines. And his mom, for whatever reason, couldn't take care of him. So then he went to go stay with the grandparents, the Woodcocks, I believe. And so then he was kind of back and forth between the Woodcocks and Charles Vallow. And then, of course, we all know what happened with Charles. He was trying to work it out with Lori. Lori had JJ. And I think Lori just kept JJ around for the money, for the Social Security check that he was getting. So what a monster. What a monster. I'm going to look and see who else is commenting on here. I'm sorry I can't get all of your guys up here, but yeah, JJ's diagnosed. Joseph Ryan, thank you. Yeah, Joseph. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. I kept thinking Jason, but yeah, Joseph Ryan. And he wanted to be closer to Kobe and everybody else, so he moved out here to Arizona, and he wound up dead. He wound up dead in his apartment right here in Arizona. I don't know. I was thinking poison, but I'll have to dig back into that. So Emma D, I'm going to put yours up here again. Yeah, JJ was the product of 2 active drug users. Yeah, what a special young man. What a special young man. It's just, I can't even think about it, man. I just can't even think about it. How awful. It's just terrible when you've got a situation like that where these kids are trusting and this is their mom. I mean, and they do something so incredibly awful. It tears your heart out. It really, truly does. Tears your heart out. Yes, all money motivated, Fuzzy Doxy. I believe Chad has always been an ultra tool, but it was Lori's influence and how sexually hungry he felt for her that turned him into a murderer alongside her, both to blame, but she was the influencer. Okay, I feel like I have a little bit of like unique insight on this because I grew up LDS. I would bet everything that I have and more, I would bet everything that Chad was a virgin when he married Tammy Daybell and vice versa, because that's just that. I mean, not always, especially nowadays, but, and then, I mean, I know that's neither here nor there, but it speaks volumes because it kind of shows the motivation that Chad might've had with some, and I'm not saying Lori's good looking. I think she's an ugly monster, but in Chad's eyes, he probably was thinking, oh, this good looking blonde that, is showing me attention. And he got sucked in. I mean, I'm not saying he's not guilty and he's not a wacko himself, but he really got sucked in by that sexual relationship that they had. And Lori knew how to play it. She knew how to play it up. She knew how to take care of all these men that she had been with, all these husbands and everybody else. And she knew Chad was going to eat it up, and he sure did. He sure did. And I'm not saying he's not a nut and not responsible, but I know Lori really got him wrapped up in that web, because she definitely is a Black Widow. So, okay, Kresha, yeah. So, Snow Remover, thank you. Kresha had a YouTube channel called Difficult Research. She's Charles's niece, Kay's daughter. Yeah, and I don't know if she's still doing it, but she had reached out to me when I first put those videos out about Tylee and JJ, and she was just saying thank you and just kind of being cool. I don't know how many subscribers she ended up with, but she was pretty small at that time, and so she was, a little more like personable, not as busy, and she reached out to me and thanked me, which I thought was really cool. But I lost her information. So let's see, Justice Jane. Between Tylee and JJ, 6,000 monthly. Yeah. So Lori was cashing in. She was cashing in. She was living high on the hog. She was taking Hawaiian trips. She was driving Jeeps and all of this stuff. You know, that Jeep that Alex used. Okay, that's another thing that we didn't even mention. What was that guy's name from Utah that was married to Melanie? I think his name was it Pulowski, or was that her new husband? I don't know. There's so many dang twists and turns in this story. But anyway, Lori's niece, Melanie, was married to this guy from Utah. And he was coming from like LA Fitness right there in Mesa or Gilbert or something. And he was driving a Tesla. And he pulled into his driveway, and this Jeep pulled up behind him. And somebody that was in the Jeep shot out his window, scared the heck out of him, as you can imagine. And then the Jeep drove off, but I think he was quick enough that he got the license plate number, and it was registered to Charles Vallow. So Lori not only was she collecting this 6,000 monthly, but Charles was paying for everything. I mean, they were driving his Jeeps. He was paying for the house. They're in Chandler or Gilbert, wherever it is that Lori was living in. And hey guys, I went there. I knocked on the door and asked the guy that's living there now, the family, if I could come in and talk to him and kind of do a walkthrough. And he said no. He's like, no, like, I don't want to have nothing to do with this. Like, these people are nuts. And this was not your average neighborhood. This was a gated community. It was a nice big house with a huge foyer. In fact, that's where Charles was shot, right there in the foyer. Had a nice big swimming pool in the backyard. As you all know, they held a nice big celebration the day either after Charles was killed or the night that he was killed. Lori and Alex were over there throwing a big old pool party, and that was reported by the neighbor, who I did interview, this young gal that was, I think she was fresh out of high school or barely in college. I went over there and knocked on her door, and she was so kind and so nice to talk to me and told me the whole story. She didn't know him very well. She did say that she knew Tylee. She said she went to the same high school as Tylee, and she knew her, but they weren't in the area very long. But she did say that they had a pool party that night, and there was a lot of laughter. There was a lot of splashing around. There was a lot of barbecuing going on, and these people are absolutely sick. Here we go, Raul. Thank you. Brandon Bordeaux, that's it. Yep. Guys, I'm so sorry. I know I get on here and you're like, Tyson, you need to brush up on your research, but it's been a while. But, I know this case like the back of my hand because I studied it a lot, but I just started kind of forgetting the names. Yeah, but Brandon Bordeaux was Melanie's first husband, Ian Pulowski's second husband. Spelling of the last name could be wrong. That is right. Now, Ian, I feel sorry for that dude because he didn't know what he was getting into. Some guy from either Utah or Idaho, returned missionary, very naive, doesn't have a lot of life experience, sees this decent-looking Melanie come along and marries her. And then not only did they get married, but she got pregnant right away. So he's kind of stuck in that situation now for a while. Butterfly 23, Tyson, missed you. Welcome back. I appreciate it, guys. I really do. You know, it's been a heck of a journey. It's been a heck of a journey. I've always kept this kind of on the back burner, but I don't know. I just, you know, it's just one of those things that things get sideways, and then you kind of get your feelings hurt, and then you know, I don't know, man. It's just. It was never anything personal towards anybody. It was just more me trying to figure some things out. So, all right, there's one I want to put on here. Fiji 48 says, I agree 100% on Chad being swallowed into Lori's game, but it's quite amazing because it looks like he strangled his wife of 27 years unless Alex was there to do it. I don't know, but don't think so. Well, at this point, I wouldn't put anything past Chad, Lori, Alex, Zulema, Melanie, any of them, this wild bunch. But I have a suspicion that it was Alex because, and I say that probably because he was the one trying to shoot her in the driveway when his gun jammed. But that doesn't really mean anything. It was just kind of like, I guess, speculation on my part. I don't know who killed her. How sad. How sad. Let's see. It also, Venus Gal. Thank you, Venus Gal. It's, I don't know if I've already put yours up here or not. Let's see. And it also looks like Chad killed JJ and disciplined him as well. Is that what's happening? Maybe. And maybe that evidence is starting to come out in the trial. But that's kind of shocking because I always kind of suspected Alex was the enforcer. You know, like Chad was kind of like the dummy that would say, oh, I had this vision that JJ and Tylee are dark spirits, that they're evil and they need to be eliminated. And then they would say, Alex, go take care of this. Go take care of business. And this is right on cue here. Alex was a psychopath. Yes. Yes. You know, when he died in Zulema's house, that was weird because the young man that made the 911 call, oh gosh, I forgot his name too, but he was Zulema's son. And you could tell on the 911 call that he didn't even know Alex very well. He's just like, hey, this guy is like laying on my bathroom floor. I think he's dead. And the dispatcher was like, well, who is he? And he's like, I don't know. He's like my mom's boyfriend or something. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know. It's so bizarre. You know, so many twists and turns and so much evil. You know, it's crazy to me that like evil gravitates towards evil. Like how did all these people end up together? Isn't that mind-boggling? Like, you know, like if you have one psychopath, like Alex Cox, for example, or Lori, like, you know, it would seem like they would be isolated. Like just they want to hide like what they're doing, like Ted Bundy or like, I don't know, any of these murders. But the fact that they all grouped together, you know, and they were just all so morbid and so sick and twisted, and it's just weird to me. It's like weird, like some kind of evil possessed these people. So Samantha, you feel like Chad was the one that deceived them? You know, it's kind of hard for me. I don't know. It's hard for me to like say who deceived who or who had the most influence because everybody that I talked to said Chad was just such a great guy, you know, including that guy in the cemetery that was saying he worked with him for like 10 years and he was such a nice guy. I know you can fool people and I know you can put up a good front and pretend and all that, but I just felt like Lori was the one that was the mastermind. And Alex and Lori had this strange relationship, probably from the time that they were children, whether that's sexual or just some other weird thing. it just seemed like Alex would do anything for Lori. Obviously anything, including murder. And so I always felt like she was the one that was the mastermind, but maybe it was Chad. I don't know. Or maybe they both went way off the deep end. I don't know. It's weird. Ian Austin, Law of Attraction. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the day I was there at Chad Daybell's house, I had a bunch of like neighbors stopping by, and I was talking to most of them that came by, and there was this one lady, and I wish I would have made a video out of it, and I'm kicking myself to this day, because she was telling me about how she lived just down the street from Chad, and they were having these big old bonfires over there. Like they would wake up in the middle of the night and look out their window, and in Chad's backyard, they were having these big old bonfires. And, it's kind of out there in the country, so they didn't really think a lot of it. They just kind of like, I guess they're just having a fire or whatever. They didn't think a lot of it and just kind of went back to bed. But they were over there doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And, you can't even imagine. But some of the other neighbors that stopped there were these kids that were making these little posters for JJ and Tylee, and I talked to them. I haven't watched that video since, but it was cute. They were making these, they were with their mom, and they were making these things that said, rest in peace, JJ and Tylee, and stuff like that. So there was a lot of neighbors coming by, a lot of people driving up and down the street, rubbernecking, a lot of people stopping and talking, saying that they just couldn't believe that that this was really truly happening. This was such a good family, and the LDS church is just right down the road. And so in between, when I was filming, I would go over there to the church and download all my videos. I would use their internet to download my videos because it was kind of way out there, and I didn't have a place to download these and send them to Dusty, where we could put all of our videos together and keep everybody posted on what was going on while I was there. And I just ran into some people at the church, and I was talking to them, and they're like, yeah, man, like brother, they called him Brother Daybell. Brother Daybell was like such a strong member of our ward, and we never could have imagined that he could have done anything like this. Just awful. So it was pretty wild, to say the least. Okay. Right here, Deb S. What was JJ's cause of death, if I ask? So I think this just barely came out in the trial, where he was strangled. He was strangled, and then they said Tylee was inconclusive. She was dismembered, and they were burned, and they just, man, they're sick people. Hi, Jeff. Man, I have more men in here tonight than I've ever had. Yes, I am LDS, Jeff. I am LDS. Grew up LDS all my life. Ever since I was in primary, I served a church mission for 2 years in the West Indies. I served in Barbados, Trinidad, and Guyana, South America, where we would go and knock on doors and try to convert people to the gospel. And I was on some beautiful islands. Barbados was amazing. So my son, who is now 20, going to be 20 this summer, he's in Idaho serving a mission. And so, it's been a part of our lives for a long time. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't go to church as much as I should, or in fact, I don't really go hardly ever anymore. And, but I support my son and what he's doing. I think it's a really good thing for young men to go out and, learn how to talk to people, learn how to shake hands, learn how to, get a little bit of life experience under their belt. I think it's great. So I think he's doing a great thing. And yes, Barbados is the best. Beautiful white sand beaches. And when I first got there, they took me to a sugarcane field, and I had never seen one of those in my entire life. And they gave me a big old stick of sugarcane, and I was chewing on that thing. And I thought it was going to be a lot better than it was. It really wasn't that great. But I was glad that I tried it. I tried coconuts too. They had coconut water where these guys would climb up the tree and get you a coconut, and you drink the water, the milk or whatever. So it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, about life. And so, in that regard, I know the church teaches a lot of really good things. It's really family oriented, stuff like that. So, okay, here we go. Sammy, I got another man in here. Dang, this is awesome. And I know I'm not meaning to sound like and I know I see your comments talking about LGBT. I'm just happy to see men in here because it's, I usually just have women, which I love. I absolutely love my women, but it's nice to have these male voices in here too every once in a while. Ditto Tyson, I went inactive after the church started to ban LGBT and involved in California's election in the same sex. Yeah, wasn't that Proposition 8? That turned into a big old mess, and I know a lot of people left the church over that. And we live in a time that's very interesting with all this stuff going on with LGBTQ plus, and then transgender stuff like that. The churches are really going to have a hard time moving forward. Especially the LDS church, because it's so patriarchal. The women can't hold the priesthood, they can't pass the sacrament, they can't give, because they're not priesthood holders, they can't give blessings, they can't do a lot of things in the church. And I know that our world is changing fast, and it's going to be a problem for not only the LDS church, but for a lot of other religions, and it already is. It's already happening. So. Deb S., I know I keep putting you up here. You got some great comments. This case is just so bizarre and sad. Mission work is great for young adults. See the world, help people. Yeah, and that's what I told my son. My son, he's having a hard time. He's homesick. He's got a girlfriend here in Arizona. He misses her. He misses his mom. He misses me. He misses his sisters. And I told him, I said, son, just go out and find people that need hope. It doesn't have to be anything about the Book of Mormon. It doesn't have to be anything about the Bible. It just needs to be a message of hope, because people are looking for hope nowadays. They're hopeless. And so since he's been doing that, his whole perspective has changed. He's trying to find people that are struggling, that are hopeless, that, are struggling financially, or they lost their homes, or they lost a child, or whatever. He's just finding people like that and just offering a message of hope. And that's all I can ask for. He's a great, great young man. Very, very beautiful, very kind-hearted, very loving young man. I'm super, super proud of him. His name is Clint Draper. What a great young man. He's in Boise, Idaho. Yeah, this is we all need to remember that organized religions are man-made, but spiritually unfaith or God-given. Yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it, guys, is I don't have anything against religion at all, or the Bible or anything like that. Nothing whatsoever. I think they're all great, but we got to remember too, when they're asking for your money and they're asking for all these different things, and it just makes you wonder, why does God need your money? Like, I need my money. I need to pay my bills. I need to make sure I have food to eat and stuff like that. And I don't know. So there's just a lot of things that are hard for me to understand, but I'm just going to leave it at that, because I don't want to sound like I'm bashing anybody's religion, because I'm not. But I just kind of understand a little bit more about this case. Not that there's any way to describe any of this madness that happened, but and that was the same thing that I got to tell you guys a story. Can I tell you? I'm just bouncing around here, and I know I'm getting close to my hour mark, but I think we're going to go over here because I want to tell you guys a crazy story that happened to me. You guys all know Jodi Arias and the horrible things that she did here in Arizona to her ex-boyfriend, Travis Alexander, who was from Riverside, California. He served a mission also for the LDS Church. I don't remember where he went, but he did. He went, and his grandma raised him. He had drug addict parents, and so his grandmother raised him and raised him in the church, and he went on a mission. Well, somewhere along the way, he moved out to Arizona, and he started doing pretty well for himself for a young man. He bought a nice house out there on Signal Butte and, I don't know, Ray Road, somewhere out there. And he was doing pretty well. And he was working for this company called Prepaid Legal. And you guys all know the story, how he met Jodi Arias. But it was so bizarre that Jodi Arias was also baptized into the LDS Church by Travis Alexander. So again, this case caught my interest. You know, it had another like LDS connection. Did you guys know that Ted Bundy was also baptized into the LDS Church? And there's like so many like of these murders that happen that involve people that have like something to do with the LDS Church. And again, I'm not bashing the LDS Church. I'm not trying to frame it in a bad light. I just find it interesting. So here's the crazy part. So one time I was in California, and I think it was the time that I went out there to try to help find Mia Malete. And by the way, her husband was arrested finally. I don't know when that one's going to trial. I got to look it up. But I think it was that time that I was out there. Maybe it was one other time before, but I decided that I was going to veer off the interstate and go to Riverside where Travis Alexander is buried, and go to his grave. I was going to do like a YouTube video on it. And here's the crazy thing that happened. And you guys can believe me if you want, but I know this happened, and it was bizarre. I found his grave, and as I'm walking across the lawn over to his grave, I felt like a legion of evil spirits come upon me. That's the only way I can describe it. I felt like a legion of evil spirits just attack me. And I thought, what the heck's going on? And so, you know, I tried to like shoot this YouTube video, and I tried to like, he's buried right next to his grandmother that raised him. And so I was trying to like talk about his grandma, and I was trying to talk about the case and whatnot, but I couldn't even hardly speak. Like these evil spirits were on me. And so I'm like, dude, I got to get out of here. Like, this is the most evil I've ever felt. It really, truly was. It was the most evil feeling that I have ever felt in my entire life. And so I took off. I didn't even do the video. I just said, I'm out of here. I'm getting out of here. I don't know why I'm feeling like this. And so I started driving home, and I got to like Indio, California. My tire blew out. My truck broke down. I had to have people send me money. I had to have my mom send me money just to get my car fixed. And I mean, I was like, all these things started happening for 3 weeks. I could not get rid of these evil spirits. They just hounded me and hounded me and hounded me. And then finally, somehow, I don't know, somehow they just left me alone. And that is the first time I've ever shared that story with anyone, pretty much. And it was weird. Sometimes when you're dealing with these cases and you're like intricately involved in not like, I don't know how to explain it other than just like when you put yourself out there and go to these places, like you go to people's houses, you go to their graves, you go snooping around, you really set yourself up for this evil to attack you. And so one of the things that I took from that experience with Travis Alexander was that I don't think Travis was a great guy. And I mean, I'm not trying to like disrespect the dead, but after researching that case and seeing kind of like what he put Jodi through and that whole situation where he was dating this other gal, Melanie, and then kind of like keeping Jodi on the back burner and kind of yanking her around, I just don't think that Travis Alexander was a good guy. I really don't. And you guys can hate me for that, and the world can hate me for saying that about somebody that got murdered. But I really just don't think he had a good heart. And that's not to justify Jodi's murder, of course, but I just wanted to put that out there, man. I felt like some evil at his grave. So I don't know why those spirits were hanging around, but they were. They definitely were. So, all right, Jeff, I'm coming back to you, buddy. Joseph Smith taught that God was once a man with 2 legs and arms, just as I have. Great selling point for a new religion like Joseph's. Don't serve God, be God. Be all you can be, army. Yeah, I'm not sure if the church is still teaching that or what. But yeah, most definitely. As God is, I think it was Brigham Young that said something like this, and I know I'm probably going to misquote this, but it was something like, as God is now, man may become, or something like that. So yeah, they did teach that, Jeff, that you could be a god of your own planet. So pretty wild. I don't know if they're still teaching that. Some of the stuff has changed. Yeah, Marie San Diego, he totally used Jodi. Yeah, he did. He did. You know, one of the things that really bothered me about that case was that he would engage in sexual activity with Jodi and then turn into a little pansy, for, you know, to keep it PG here, turn into a pansy and then go talk to his bishop and, you know, talk about how he needs to repent and he needs to get his act together. He wants to marry like one of these Mormon stock girls like Melanie Hall. And then he would turn around and do it again. And so his repentance was pretty shallow and pretty fake. And then he would try to hide it. So, you know, Jodi's an awful person for what she did, but I don't think that Travis Alexander was a great guy either. I really don't. Demons will absolutely try to affect you, attach themselves to you, cast them off with the word of the Lord. They hate that stuff. Yeah, you know, one of the things that I was always taught with, you know, me being a priesthood holder, that's what I was always taught, is that we can cast out evil spirits. And I tried that and it didn't work. So I wasn't sure if it was me, if I was doing something wrong or what, but they stayed hanging around for about 3 weeks. So maybe it did work. It just took about 3 weeks for them to leave me alone. And it was hell. I don't know if you guys ever had any experiences with evil spirits, but it's not fun. It is not fun. You feel like this darkness. The Solomon case. Oh, where'd they go? Jesus. Yeah, scripture. I saw somebody saying something about the Solomon case. I don't know. I'm not sure which one you're referring to there, Ian, so I can't really comment on that one. All right. Hey, I better get off here too. Sammy needs an alibi. I got to run. Tyson, great show. And you have a new subscriber. Props, bro. Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Now, I want to say, I know that you guys were not all going to agree politically, okay? Hold on. I want to read this real fast. Tyson, you did not have evil spirits. Let's see what this said. I'm interested in seeing what this says. Tyson, you did not know it was evil spirits. Or did you know it was evil spirits, or did you know something was askewed and really attacking your thoughts to the negative? I understood how feeling sick and dizzy all of a sudden and thoughts. Okay, so if I'm understanding your question correctly, how did I feel? It's difficult to describe. I just felt like a darkness in my soul, like all the way, like deep in your soul, you just feel this darkness and you just feel like there's this, it's like a blanket that just covers you up. I don't know. It was weird. I hope you guys never, ever have to feel that. Cause I really truly thought that I was never going to get rid of it. And I thought, oh man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to go see find a medicine man out here on the Native American reservation and see if they can burn some sage and do a little crown dance and do their little chants and all that, try to get rid of this thing. I was willing to do anything because it was bad. All right, I'm going to put one more up here. Everybody's just saying, peace out. But thank you guys for showing up. I know it was just a impromptu thing. I like to do this every once in a while because I truly enjoy it. And I just like to feel your guys' spirit and your presence in my life. You guys are always positive and wonderful. And I just want to thank you once again for that. So I hope you all have a wonderful night. Makeup with Jackie. Hi, Tyson. Great. Yeah, it was really good to see all you guys too. I hope you guys are doing well. Join us next time. I don't know when it's going to be, but join us next time, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this casual discussion. You guys are great. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.